We are here for the Week 4 press conference with Traverse Family head football coach Justin Wilcox prior to Cal's trip to Florida State. Saturday night kickoff against the Seminoles at Doak Walker Stadium. We will go ahead and get questions started with Jeff Parado from Cal Bears on SI. Go ahead, Jeff.
Yeah, good morning, Justin. We'll start with the usual if we could, just to get a status update on the guys who've been injured. Jaden Ott, Vadakani, Will McDonald, Merriweather, Keon Grays, Matthew Littlejohn, and David Reese. Probably forgetting somebody, but that's the main ones.
Yeah, Tobias and Keon will not play. Littlejohn doubtful, and everybody else probable. I think if I remember all your names right.
Yeah, you got them all. Are the two receivers likely to be able to play with you this year?
Yeah, at some point this season.
And Matthew Littlejohn?
Same.
Okay, and you don't have Craig Woodson for the first half this week, is that correct?
Oh, we do. He was out early in the game, so he's
okay.
Certain.
All right. Thank you.
Yep.
All right, we'll go to Jim McGill from Bear Insider.
Justin, it seemed like the running game kind of finally got on track the second half versus, the previous games in the first half of this one. Is there something that you saw on film that made a big difference? Or was it just wearing down the San Diego State line?
I think it was better technique. It was not committing penalties. It was, breaking into tackle. I think it was a combination of those things where we started being much more productive in the run game.
You talk a little bit about the job that AT has done with that running back room. It seems like you've got 4 or 5 guys that can be really productive in the right situations.
Yeah, it was great to see the Jet continue to develop. He's done some good things early on this season. Last year he kind of a spot player, but it was great to see him get out a little bit this past week. He had a big run obviously against Auburn as well. So we have Jet is creating more and more confidence playing in there. We have confidence in him. There's a couple things he has to clean up in protection that showed up, and we'll keep working on them, working with him on those things. And then the rest of the room, we really want to continue to develop and see who else can be counted on in clutch moments to get us some valuable yards. So Kadarius got some more opportunities last game, which was good to see. And we still have Cardwell and some other guys in there, Wiley, who we'd like to continue to develop. And then obviously we want to get Jaden back and get him going. I mean, that's primary.
All right, Josh Dubow from the AP.
Hey, Justin, you guys have had plenty of opportunities over the year traveling back east. Ole Miss, North Carolina, Auburn a couple weeks ago. Is there a challenge in doing it, twice in 3 weeks, multiple times a season? Do you have to change how you guys are approaching those trips now that you have more of them in a season?
No, we always leave a day early. I think we may have touched on this before, but we leave a day early, practice on Thursday morning. We're a morning practice outfit anyway, so we practice, and we make it a race to see how fast we can get off the ground. So we locker room, buses, take off as fast as possible, get out there, and our team really enjoys it. I mean, we get to spend a lot of time together. They have some time on the plane and on the Friday set aside for some school work. Once in a while, they'll have to be a proctored quiz or an exam or something like that, but they do a great job with that. We spend all Friday together. We get some downtime, we get some meeting time. They got some academic time. Obviously, we get our walkthrough, and so you get your body clock ready, and our whole group seems to really enjoy it. We get to spend a lot of great time together.
Thanks.
All right, Steve Croner from the SF Chronicle.
Morning, Justin. In the post-game news conference on Saturday, you said something, I'm paraphrasing, but not by a lot, that the entire program, including coaches, players, fans, needs to learn how to win. And I sort of get what you're saying, but on another level, I mean, you have won. You've won 6 straight regular season games. It's not as if you're coming off a 1-11 or 0-12 season. So could you expound on that a little more, what you mean by you have to learn how to win?
Well, what's your standard? I think I also said it is just enough good enough, and I would hope not. You want to hold yourself to a standard regardless of, when you're playing, who you're playing, what the weather is, what the crowd's like, and that you have such high expectations for yourself that you're not concerned necessarily. Obviously, the other team is sometimes they're going to be really talented, sometimes a little less talented, but none of that should matter. And our expectations on how we operate, how we perform should be the same, and we should raise that bar each and every week. And what we don't want to be is the yo-yo or riding the roller coaster where it's up and down. And we have won games, but I'm talking about, to win consistently and sustain winning, it's got to be a culture throughout the program that there's an expectation on how we perform, and we got to live up to that expectation each and every opportunity we get when we go on the field. And so it doesn't mean that people aren't investing. It doesn't mean people aren't trying. There's a lot of want to. I mean, that's not an issue. I don't have we watch the tape or even during the game, it's not a matter of wanting to do well. It's a matter of being able to execute in the moment, do the little things right when it counts the most. And I think that's everybody. So we got to continue to work on that. That's a learned behavior. And the good thing is as you mentioned, we've won games, and we got to continue to raise the level of expectation so we can win more games more consistently.
Thank you.
All right, Ben Ross from Crawl 4.
Hey, Coach, sort of on that note, what's the excitement level right now, both with your team and on campus, just what you've seen? I mean, I know it's still early in the season, but getting off to the 3-0 start, what's the excitement level right now in Berkeley?
Well, a ton of excitement, and that's a great thing. I mean, we want to feed that, and the way we feed that is to keep getting better and keep practicing and identifying the things individually that we can all do a little bit better so we can perform at a higher level each and every time we step on the field. There's not one thing. We were talking about this as a team today. It's not like there's one thing that the entire team's got to do better. I mean, the individuals have to own their improvement. And so maybe for some guys that's playing with a little better focus. Maybe for some guys they gotta play with a little less angst and calm down just a little bit. Some guys maybe it's a physical thing, it's a technique, or maybe it's eye control. It's individualized, and we got to, as individuals, own that, and that way the whole group can play better. But the want to is there, the excitement is there. I love the fans. The student body came out in force, man. We love them. They showed up big. We just got to learn what we can do and what we can't do so we don't get penalties at our own home stadium.
All right, Cody Henderson from the League Winners.
Yeah. Hey, Coach, is there a heightened sense of urgency in practice this week, knowing that, Florida State probably feels like their backs are against the wall and there could be that added level of desperation?
No, Cody, we try to bring great urgency and intensity each and every week. We have obviously a ton of respect for Florida State. All you got to do is turn the video on. I mean, so I'm sure we'll get to them, but no, we want to bring intensity and urgency each and every time we get out there, because if we don't do that, then we're doing ourselves and the team a disservice. Like, there's only so many chances you get to do this, and so and thankfully our team recognizes that, and they do a really good job each and every week coming out there with some urgency.
Thanks, Coach.
All right, we'll circle back to Jeff Ferrato.
Justin, when the schedule came out way back when, and we looked at it and we saw you're opening the ACC on the road against the defending champion of the conference team that was 13-1. Everybody kind of thought that looked like mission impossible, and here they are. Now they're 0-3. I wonder what your take on them is, what you see when you watch them on film. Is your sense of them different than it was a month ago, or what do you think about the Seminoles?
I think they're a very, very talented football team. The games haven't gone their way for one reason or another. We recognize how slim the margins are in playing great football and not great football. And they're a very gifted team. They got really good coaches, and they're a prideful outfit. So we know what's in store, and we'll have to play our best game, and our guys are expecting that. And so what's most important is we have a a really good week of practice, because all you have to do is, and I understand, records are the records, but if you sit down in our offices and turn the tape on, you see what you see, and you trust that, and our players do the same thing. So we know how gifted they are and how good a coaches and scheme they got. So we're going to need to go play great football on Saturday.
And I know you regard the next game as the biggest game always, and every game counts the same. But how big would beating these guys be for you guys?
Well, it would mean we went out and played our best game of the season thus far and had an opportunity to go 4-0. And so, as I mentioned, there's only so many chances you get, and it's going to be a great venue. We've never been down there before. Again, in a different place with some great players and coaches. So it's an unbelievably exciting opportunity.
Thank you.
Yep.
All right, Jake Curtis from Cal Bears on SI.
Against their quarterback, whose name I'm not going to try to pronounce. Does that give you any help or in terms of preparing for them this year?
I didn't catch the first part of your question, Jake. You're saying since we played him before?
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah. DJ's a really talented guy. I remember him in high school, even in early years of high school. He's a big physical guy. He can throw the ball all over the place. He's played a lot of football. And we played him last year. He played an excellent game against us last year. And so we got a ton of respect for him. He can throw it. He's really hard to tackle because he's so big. So we got a lot of respect for DJ.
Did that help you prepare for him that you played him before, though?
I mean, other than that you've seen him and, you're aware of his abilities. I guess so. Anytime you've seen somebody once, you kind of have a little bit more of a feel for him. But it's it's a different system. But this is kind of the world we live in now. Like you could see guys, this is going to happen multiple times throughout the year where we've played somebody in a different uniform a year ago. But again, he's a talented guy in a good system, and we got a ton of respect for him.
All right, back to Steve Croner.
Listen, I think you've got a pretty good sense of history. So if I took you back to August of last year, when Cal and Stanford were kind of adrift in the conference realignment world, and then I told you a year plus from now, you're going to be taking your team to Florida State to play the first ACC game in the history of the University of California, what would you say? And how will you experience that, you think, pregame on Saturday?
Yeah. If you would have told me that, well, at that moment when things were up in the air, I would have been just like I am now, high-fiving. What a great experience. What an opportunity. It's great being in the ACC and playing some of these teams that we've never or haven't played in either a long time or ever before. And so what an opportunity. And, where all this ends up in 2, 3, 5, 7 years, I don't know that any of us know. But this year we got an opportunity to go down there and play against a great team with proud tradition. And we're going to do everything in our power to make the most of it.
Thank you.
All right, back to Jake Curtis.
That a second ago, but do you foresee a time when Cal might be back in whatever the Pac-12 was called at some point?
Oh, geez, Jake, I don't know. I don't have a crystal ball. I know that college football and college athletics is in a time of change, and it's going to keep changing. And how that ends up, I really don't know. And so I know it all sounds like coach speak, but there's really no other way to approach this than we're in it right now. We're playing Florida State this week. And beyond that, if there comes a time where our administration and, Chancellor, if they have questions for me about, things that could come up, I'll give them my opinion. But I don't even spend any mental energy on it right now because I just have zero control over any of that. I'm sure it's exciting to think and talk about, but there's just so many scenarios. So if you get it all figured out, or you do have that crystal ball, shoot us an email. But we're glad to be in the ACC. It's an awesome opportunity. And like I said, we want to make the most of it.
All right, 2 more questions. We'll go to Matt Moreno from Rivals.
We saw Ryan Coe make a lot of big kicks throughout the offseason. What's been the messaging to him, as he's had some inconsistencies here to start the season?
Yeah, We believe in Ryan. We saw the same thing, Matt, that you saw. And we saw it, in spring and then again in fall camp. We just got to get him into a rhythm because he does have the talent and the leg to do it. So we got to get him into a rhythm, and we believe in him. Yeah, that's it.
All right, we'll wrap this up with Jeff Farrago. Go ahead, Jeff.
Justin, Aiden Kiana Aina has been pretty productive for you so far. Your defensive line, your interior guys don't generally make a lot of tackles. I think he's got 12 in 3 games, which is more than he had his entire time at Notre Dame. I know he was banged up a little bit there, but just assess how he's playing and what his role has been for you guys.
I'm glad you brought him up, Jeff, because you're right. Those guys don't get a ton of exposure and sometimes don't show up as much statistically, even if they're playing well. Aiden's doing a heck of a job. I mean, we are thrilled that Aiden's on our team. He, first of all, as a human being, as a person, as a worker, as a teammate, been incredible. And then he's producing. He's hard guy to move. He's big. He's got a big, thick lower half. He is tough to move, and he's been productive. Because sometimes those guys will, that have that body type can just be, take up a block, but sometimes it's hard for them to be productive getting off a block. And so we're always looking for the guys that you want to see that production that, when the double team comes off, can they get back in their gap and actually make a tackle as opposed to just holding the double team? And he's been able to do that. Now we got to continue to do it week in and week out. And this week it's going to be against some, elite level talent. And so it'll be a great challenge for him, but he is, we're really pleased with Aiden as a player and as I mentioned before, as a human being, as a member of our team.